You don't want me barking on tape. It's really bad.
You just sit there and be quiet. That would make a nice change.
Oh, thank you.
All right, what is the ego? Let's get through these lessons. I can't believe we're up to 331.
No, we still got 60 more days.
This is the graduating class of
30 more days.
2023. Hey? You know how long I've been doing these lessons? I mean, it seems like a millennia.
I know.
I know. People still write to me every now and again. I had somebody last week wrote to me and said, "Oh, I've just discovered you on YouTube. Your videos are incredibly helpful, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, what?
Yeah. I just discovered them a year ago. So. All of a sudden,
Really?
there was you.
I was thinking, yeah, me too. And I was thinking about that today because actually I think that's how it kind of first occurred to me. There was these YouTubes, and I'd be driving to work in the morning, and Dave was either driving or walking his dogs on the beach. He'd be in some truck or something like that, and I'd be driving to work, and there's Dave driving his truck, and he's talking to me, and as I went to work, and that's how I came across. And you had those two dogs. Two dogs. I think it was two.
Two dogs. I had two dogs.
I think you did.
Two dogs would have been Floyd and Nisha, both of whom are no longer with us anymore. And if my daughter's watching this far distant future, sorry, darling, I told you they went to a farm down the road, but they actually went to doggy heaven.
Okay.
They became quite addicted to killing things, and we live in a rural area, so they had to go.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, there's I don't know if you have it in England, but in Australia, if you have a farm dog or a working dog or whatever, and it suddenly starts killing your chickens and attacking the next door neighbor's sheep, you have to put them down because because you can't trust them around small children ever again once they've got that blood taste, that bloodlust.
Yeah.
Which
they were big dogs, weren't they?
I put a lot of time into training those dogs, but anyway. Let's go. What is the ego? The ego is idolatry, sign of limited and separated self, born in a body, doomed to suffer and to end its life in death. It is the will that sees the will of God as enemy and takes a form in which it is denied. The ego is the proof that strength is weak and love is fearful. Life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true. It's all backwards here. The ego is insane. In fear it stands beyond the everywhere, apart from all, in separation from the infinite. In its insanity, it thinks it has become a victor over God himself, and in its terrible autonomy, it sees the will of God has been destroyed. It dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams. Its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. And if you haven't yet seen that, right, so that where are we? Hang on, let me go back. It dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams. Its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. That's the state of mind of the human condition, right? Attack or be attacked, right? And defend yourself against that attack. It's like, man, every single person on the planet, that's the state of mind that you come here with. It's implicit in being what human beings are. Like if you haven't yet seen that you do that in your own mind, you need to look closer. There's nobody here who's holy and other people who aren't holy. It's like, man, that is the state of ego consciousness. The Son of God who is egoless. The Son of God is egoless. What can he know of madness and the death of God when he abides in him? What can he know of sorrow and of suffering when he lives in eternal joy? What can he know of fear and punishment, of sin and guilt, of hatred and attack, when all there is surrounding him is everlasting peace, forever conflict-free and undisturbed in deepest silence and tranquility? To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts, its works, its acts, its laws, its beliefs, its dreams, its hopes, its plans for its salvation, and the cost belief in it entails. In suffering, the price for faith in it, in suffering, the price for faith in it is so immense that crucifixion of the Son of God is offered daily at its darkened shrine, and blood must flow before the altar where its sickly followers prepare for death. I need better light in here. Oh. Yet will one lily of forgiveness change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions, to the shrine of life itself. And peace will be restored forever to the holy minds which God created as his Son. His dwelling place, his joy, his love, completely his, completely one with him. Quite graphic, some of Jesus's descriptive narrative there. Flowing for the altar. But that's it. That's exactly what it is. If you haven't yet realized the nature of the wish to kill buried beneath the wish to present yourself as something other than you are, as something holier than you think you are, or holier that you want to be, then you've got to dig a little deeper below the surface. The narrative behind everything in the world is death. Death of others, death of yourself, oblivion, the total destruction of all things, which is, that's the underlying script of ego consciousness. It's like the point of realizing that, the point of realizing that goes beyond just hearing me say the words or reading the words in the book, which is why this course is practical, which is why this course is something you have to put into practice so you can see that what it's saying is true about you. It's not like there are other people out there who need the course more than you do. I remember having a period, it didn't last long. I think Ted snapped me out of it, but I remember having a period where I entertained the thought that maybe it was only really Helen Schuckman that needed this course and the rest of us are okay. Maybe Jesus just channeled it to Helen and somehow it got published and now we're all confused about who really needs it. But I recognize that as a defensive thought process, albeit a funny one, but a defensive thought process. And stopping at the recognition of the defensive thought process is pointless. It's what that process hides that you need to look at. There's the wish to kill, the wish to defend, the wish to be special, to remain separate. The wish for me to be somehow above and beyond the need of salvation somehow when others need it still, which is still separation. There's a point in healing. There's a point in healing where, and I've heard this said many times. We went to a thing west of Brisbane. Brisbane's a town sort of on the central eastern coast, of Australia. We went to a thing up in the mountains once. There was me and Ted and Margot and a couple other guys, I think, to see John Hammer. I don't know if you've heard of J.M. Hammer or whatever. I mean, I don't know what's happened to that guy in recent years, but I guess that's his own story to tell. But he used to be spot on. That guy used to do those books, The Way of the Heart. And then after The Way of the Heart, it kind of like went in a different direction. It became The Way of Mastery or something. And then he got involved with these people that produced this Elohim magazine and whatever, and it became some other. And now I can't even talk to the guy, but there was a thing presented there afterwards in the talking session, in the little thing. There was a thing where I was talking to these women who were, I don't know who they were, but they were into him like big time as a guru or whatever you want to call it. And they were talking about, oh yeah, I've been in that healing place there that he was talking about. I'm not there anymore. Right? I've learnt that lesson. Now that lesson's for other people. Well, like they were talking about how they can see other people need to learn that lesson. If you can see somebody else still needs to learn that lesson, who is it needs to learn the lesson? You know, it's like everyone's a reflection of my thinking. And it's like, man, I can learn to be totally grateful for those reflections because they show me my deeper need for my own counsel and for my own honesty. You know, there's always more. There's always a deeper diving in. And I think Greg Sacra calls it a deep dive into spirituality or a deep dive into healing. Man, the deepest dive you can go is to reach the bottom. And that's what, you know, that's what I'm fearful of, is going to the bottom. I've been to the bottom of my conscious association and there was nothing there but the blackness. There was nothing there but the void. You know? And on the other side of that, 3 days later, was my enlightenment. That's how I know that was the bottom. Because when you get to the bottom, that's all that's left. There is nothing else. There is no void, really, because there's no lack in God. There's no gap between what was always God and what still is always God. It's only in the illusion where you think you still have potential and time and possibilities and probabilities that the idea of a world apart from God somehow can be entertained. And it's not true. But it takes great learning to learn that it's not true. And it's like, man, every encounter I have is a finger on the nose encounter, no matter how many times I think I've learnt that same lesson. Because I'm only actually ever really learning the same lesson. I'm not separate from God. There by the grace of God goes I. You know, and it's one of those things, and the lesson will take many forms, many people, many situations, and it'll just present it again and again through a different aspect of that lesson, perhaps something I can recognize, but it's always going to be my lesson to learn. So, anyway, let's do these lessons. Speaking of lessons, Kev, can you read 331 and 2, please? Since Joe's not going to read anything today. Just listen. And listening is important as reading.
Lesson 331. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. How foolish, Father, to believe your Son could cause himself to suffer. Could he make a plan for his damnation and be left without a certain way to his release? You love me, Father. You could never leave me desolate, to die within a world of pain and cruelty. How could I think that love has left itself? There is no will except the will of love. Fear is a dream and has no will that can conflict with yours. Conflict is sleep and peace awakening. Death is illusion, life eternal truth. There is no opposition to your will. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. Forgiveness shows us that God's will is one and that we share it. Let us look upon the holy sights forgiveness shows today, that we may find the peace of God. Amen. Lesson 332. Fear binds the world. Forgiveness sets it free. The ego makes illusions. Truth undoes its evil dreams by shining them away. Truth never makes attack. It merely is. And by its presence is the mind recalled from fantasies, awaking to the real. Forgiveness bids this presence enter in and take its rightful place within the mind. Without forgiveness is the mind in chains, believing in its own futility. Yet with forgiveness does the light shine through the dream of darkness, offering it hope and giving it means to realize the freedom that is its inheritance. We would not bind the world again today. Fear holds it prisoner, and yet your love has given us the means to set it free. Father, we would release it now, for as we offer freedom, it is given us, and we would not remain as prisoners while you are holding freedom out to us.
Fran. 3 and 4, please. Oh, and I should just put a little thing in there, a little addendum. If you're following along these lessons at home, you're just doing the one a day and reading the preamble. We're just doing all 10 here for the sake of the video space. But just at home, just do the one. Thank you, Fran.
Forgiveness ends the dream of conflict here. Conflict must be resolved. It cannot be evaded, set aside, denied, disguised, seen somewhere else, called by another name, or hidden by deceit of any kind, if it would be escaped. It must be seen exactly as it is, where it is thought to be, in the reality which has been given it, and with the purpose that the mind accorded it. For only then are its defenses lifted, and the truth can shine upon it as it disappears.
You see how different that is, Fran?
Mhm.
You see how different that is from the transcendental kind of spirituality that people prefer to this? Most people like to be spiritual, and it's like all of a sudden, well, that was in the past. That doesn't exist anymore. And now we're just going to be happy and we can be in our bliss, right? Where Jesus is telling you clearly in that lesson, conflict must be resolved. 4 words, must be resolved, right? It has to be forgiven. It cannot be evaded, set aside, right? You can't just put on beads and become a spiritual person and all the conflict's gone. You know, that's the spirituality of the ego. Right? This is the shit. This is the hard line. Like, you got to face that fear. You got to look at that conflict and like exactly as it comes to you. That's a tough call. Who wants to do that? You know, who really wants to do that?
Yeah,
like,
fuck.
Right. That, I know, that's faith. How much faith is required to do that just as it is? It's like, oh my God. All right, sorry, keep going. Read the rest of it there. This is a beautiful lesson.
Father, forgiveness is the light you chose to shine away all conflict and all doubt, and light the way for our return to you. The way for our return to you. No light but this can end our evil dream. No light but this can save the world. For this alone will never fail in anything, being your gift to your beloved Son.
Good. Take a few breaths before you do the next one. You got some stuff going on there. Allow it to go on. Allow it to happen. It's all good. These are good lessons. Especially 334. Ready? Take this totally personally.
Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. I will not wait another day to find the treasures that my Father offers me. Illusions are all vain and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perceptions. Let me not accept such meager gifts again today. God's voice is offering the peace of God to all who hear and choose to follow him. This is my choice today. And so I go to find the treasures God has given me. I seek but the eternal. For your son can be content with nothing less than this. What then can be his solace but what you are offering to his bewildered mind and frightened heart? To give him certainty and bring him peace. Today I would behold my brother sinless. Is your will for me, for so will I be. For so will I behold my sinlessness.
Good.
Oh my God. Oh, shit. Oof.
Hey, I love you, friend.
Thank God. Mhm. Oh, Christ, in spite of myself. Woo.
Good. Francois, nice to see you there with some light. Oh, it's gone black again. Let's have some light on you so we can see where you are there. You're like in the attic. You're like Harry Potter under the stairs.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets.
You have to get another light for these Zoom meetings. We like to see everybody, not be hiding in the shadows.
Sorry,
All right.
yeah, I will.
Thanks, Francois. I
Which
choose
lesson?
the sinlessness 335.
Yeah, okay.
Before you read it,
Yeah.
no. Before you read it, I want you to think of this for a second. My brother's sinlessness includes my own. I choose to see my own sinlessness. Okay? That's it. Keep your finger there. Beautiful. Now read it.
I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. Forgiveness is a choice. I never see my brother as he is. For that is far beyond perception. What I see in him is merely what I wish to see.
Right,
Because
stop.
it stands.
Stop. I'm going to tell you a story. And then you can read on. When I saw that Christ did my brother, you only have to see it once. Right? You only have to see it once and you'll never forget it. Right? It'll be blazoned in your mind. We just finished a big meditation session, went for about 3 or 4 hours in the morning. And usually after meditation, a big session, I like to sort of shake it all out, go and have a coffee and just like get back in my body and like get going again, right? So I walked into town, about a 20-minute walk in Byron Bay, walked into town, and I'm high as a kite. I've just done this incredibly beautiful meditation. I'm feeling amazing. Life is just brilliant. And I'm wanting to love everybody, right? I'm just feeling like I just want to love everybody, give everybody a hug. And I'm walking up the main street in Byron Bay, where there's always a lot of tourists as well as local people. And the footpath was packed. Like there was people, you had to, excuse me, get past everybody. And all these people walking towards me, right? And I had this thought popped into my head, like because I was feeling such love and warmth and everything towards everyone. And I'm thinking, wow, these are all my brothers. These are all my brothers. All of a sudden, with that thought, they faded out. You know, like a dimmer switch on a light, how you can turn the dimmer switch
Yes.
down? All the color and shape and everything went like down. All I could see here was a blazing light, a white light from each person, right from the center of the forehead. You can call that the third eye if you want. And I saw the spiritual truth of my brother, which is what my brother is, the spirit. Right. And I realized Jesus was showing me that the forms that I thought were all my brothers were not my brothers. My brother is not a body. My brother is the spirit with me. Right? That's the truth of my brother. Now, I've just put an idea, just put a concept in your head about what that could possibly be. But how the truth of your brother is shown to you will be individual and perfect for you as well. All right. It may not come to you that way or in that, with that realization, with that particular imagery. But all of that faded out. There was the truth, and then it came back again. All the buildings and shops and everything came back again. All the bodies and people came back. But I was shown that. All right. Now, read the lesson again from the start.
Okay.
There is not a body.
I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. Forgiveness is a choice. I never see my brother as he is, for that is far beyond perception. What I see in him is merely what I wish to see, because it stands for what I want to be the truth. It is to this alone that I respond. However much I seem to be impelled by outside happenings, I choose to see what I would look upon. And this I see, and only this. My brother's sinlessness shows me that I would look upon my own, and I will see it, having chosen to behold my brother in its holy eye, in its holy light. And I will see it, having chosen to behold my brother in its holy light. Wow. What could restore your memory to me except to see my brother's sinlessness? His holiness reminds me that he was created one with me and like myself. In him I find myself, and in your son I find the memory of you as well.
Do the next one.
Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Lesson 336. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Forgiveness is the means appointed for perception's ending. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. For sights and sounds at best can serve but to recall the memory like for sights and sounds at best can serve but to recall the memory that lies beyond them all. Forgiveness sweeps away distortions and opens the hidden altar to the truth. Its lily shines into the mind and call it to return and look within to find what it has vainly sought without. For here and only here is peace of mind restored. For this is the dwelling place of God Himself. In quiet, may forgiveness wipe away my dreams of separation and of sin. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Your word remains unchanged within my mind. Your love still abiding in my heart.
Good. What you're looking for is in you. Literally. It's not just a figure of speech. It's not just rhetorical or anything. Literally within you. Barry?
Thank you.
My sinlessness protects me from all harm. My sinlessness assures me perfect peace, eternal safety, everlasting love, freedom forever from all thought of loss, complete deliverance from suffering. And only happiness can be my state, for only happiness is given me. What must I do to know all this is mine? I must accept atonement for myself and nothing more. God has already done all things that need be done. I must learn I need do nothing of myself. I need but accept myself, my sinlessness, created for me, now already mine, to feel God's love protecting me from harm. To understand my Father loves his Son. To know I am the Son my Father loves. You who created me in sinlessness are not mistaken about what I am. I was mistaken when I thought I sinned. But I accept atonement for myself. Father, my dream is ended now. Amen.
Amen. And those words, they're just words. What can words do? They're just words. This journey goes beyond words. It goes deeper than words. The words are like a signboard. They just point the direction. But if I'm not applying the words, if I'm not applying the principles those words embody, what's the point of reading them? What's the point of reading the words if I don't actually put them into practice throughout the day? And I can't tell myself, you know, like this is the thing, Barry, I can't tell myself honestly that I don't know in my life where these application of these principles would be beneficial. You know, because when I'm honest and I look at my life and look at the day that goes by or the day that was yesterday or the day that might be tomorrow, I have recognition of moments and incidents and situations within the day where I could have made a better response. I could have made a better choice. And that's all this is learning to make a better choice. To come from love or to come from fear. To perpetuate my old way of thinking or to take a chance on a new way of thinking. And I can't tell myself any longer that I don't know where those opportunities are because I wrote the script. It's a funny thing. I have a moment of self-honesty. It's like, man, that could have gone better. That whole situation backfired and everybody's shouting at me now or, you know, whatever the thing is, it's like, I knew that was going to happen though. I knew that would happen before my feet hit the floor. You know, I've got to give my day to God before my feet hit the floor. Here I am, Lord. Today I give to you. Help me to remember that I'm giving my day to you. So that the judgments and the condemnation and everything, and it's not that you won't judge and condemn and everything else, but hopefully in those moments, you know, like we'll pull each other up. We'll be like, hang on a minute, let's just drop that story and choose for something new. And sometimes that comes around again and again and again and again. But you begin to see it as the opportunity, you know, it's like so many times in my life, I'm the worst student of A Course in Miracles. If you were to ask me how many times I've stood in the corner of Jesus' classroom with the dunce hat on, it'd be like, man, when have I not? When have I not been in the corner with the dunce hat on? You know? I know the words. I know the freaking words in the book back to front. But it's the application of the words. It's like, oh, all right, another day, another opportunity, another day, another chance. Here we go again. And it's like I can't judge myself for failing to apply forgiveness. I can't judge myself because then I make it doubly conundrum. You know, I judge myself for my judgments. Now I need a miracle to even want a miracle. I need a double miracle. So it's like, all right, let me just laugh at myself for that. Start again.
That sounds
Ready?
like my story.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's your story. It's my story. It's the story we share together. In this world, it's our holy purpose, Barry, and it's a joy to finally be here with you in the recognition of our holy purpose. In the healing of our story, you know. The ultimate healing of our story, of course, is the realization that it's already been healed. Jesus healed it in the resurrection. All I'm for myself in the place where I still think I have something to say about it. It's kind of funny, you know. It's a funny thing. I still think it could possibly look something else, but it can't.
Really? Do you really? Wow.
Right. Of course, every day. Hey, I'm still here. You're still here. We seem to still be, you know.
Because it's like that lesson you just gave me to read, that was my lesson. You
right,
know,
exactly.
And like
Why you think I gave it to you to read?
10 days ago or something, that was my lesson. And I sat there in that place, you know, where I'd put it all down. I wasn't even searching anymore. I gave it up. I realized that was ridiculous.
Right.
Ridiculous. I was trying to do something, change something, understand something. Gave it all up. And there it was. A
Right.
revelation. And then I probably woke up the next morning and I started judging myself.
Right, exactly. But every day, you know, like every day the veil gets thinner. It's like consistent effort in a single direction. Eventually you must reach the goal. Some days it's going to seem like you go forward one step and back 2 steps. Some days it's going to seem like you get sidetracked off to some other whole thing. And it's like, I don't want to be over in this some other whole thing. I want to be on my journey. But yet being in someone else's journey for a second and helping someone else, or being sidetracked or whatever you want to call it, it can't set you back, because this is a journey of collaborative venture. And if I help my brother, I'm also helping myself, because we are all one. The idea that I could collapse time for myself alone is ridiculous. We're in this together. Whatever amount of time, effort, and whatever, it's like, I just got to let go and say yes to everything. There's my brother Barry, and we're in the realization that this is what we're doing to ourselves every day. You know, judging everyone and everything and making decisions about our next step in life based on those judgments. So, okay. I need to apply more faith. I need more faith in myself. I need more belief in my brother and all of that stuff. How do I get that? Not by words, not by teaching, not by reading lots of books, but by actually applying the principles that those books are telling me to apply in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I love, you know, like the 12 step. I know I talk about this a bit. Where one of the practices, 12 steps and 12 traditions in Alcoholics Anonymous, is at the end of the day, before we go to bed, we make a mental note of our day and we see where it is that conflict arose during the day and where we could have made better choices, all that sort of stuff, right? We take an inventory of our day. And it's like, man, if you're honest, that day is every day. You'll see the same situation play out with different people, but it's the same thing, and you can recognize it by the emotional signature that it has. I felt upset. I felt jealous. I felt pissed off. I felt angry. I felt whatever. It's like all of those things are on the surface, but they all indicate a belief in separation from God. I think I'm separate from someone and someone's doing something to me. You know, it's like, it's not the surface where I need to repair the relationship. It's down deeper than that. It's where it is that the fundamental belief in being separate from the whole exists, where I still think it has some kind of value in my life. It doesn't. Not if my goal is truly God. Anyway, read the next one. It's good.
Next one.
338.
I've still got my microphone, yeah. 338. I'm affected only by my thoughts. It needs but this to let salvation come to all the world. But in this single thought is everyone released at last from fear. Now has he learned that no one frightens him, nothing can endanger him. He has no enemies, and he is safe from all external things. His thoughts can frighten him, but since these thoughts belong to him alone, he has the power to change them and exchange each fear thought for a happy thought of love.
Good.
He crucified himself. He crucified himself. Yet God has planned that his beloved Son will be redeemed. Your plan is sure, Father, only yours. All other plans will fail, and I will have thoughts that will frighten me until I learn that you have given me the only thought that leads me to salvation. Mine alone will fail and lead me nowhere. But the thought you gave me promises to lead me home, because it holds your promise to your Son.
Good. Now, don't compromise that. It's already been given to you. If you can truly, truly, truly hear that God's promise has been given, why would you not hold him to it? And hold him to it to your understanding of it. Right? It's not like you're putting your God to the test, but you're saying, yes, Father, I accept your promise and I'm willing to abide and live by the promise that you've made me so that I can come to understand it, so that it can become functional in my life. Because salvation is the restoration of your right mind, your true mind, where you recognize your oneness and become glad. When you can see that everything, including, and this is important, everything, including the part that you play, is implicit and imperative and perfect in God's plan, then you'll play your part fearlessly. Right? It's a process of choosing. I'm going to let go of fear because love is beyond what I've projected on top of it. I've tried to smother love with my fears of life, the universe, and everything. And now, fuck that. I don't have a choice anyway. What's the choice? 6-foot hole pine box. We've been there many times. Is that really a choice? Not really. So here's what's going to happen, Barry. And I'm just going to do this one with you. It's the same for everybody, but you're going to be presented with an opportunity to make a decision about something, probably tomorrow. And you're also going to be presented an opportunity to compromise your integrity with making that decision. Okay? That's the same decision everybody makes every day. You're going to be presented an opportunity to offer total integrity in your decision with regards to it. And you're also going to be presented simultaneously the opportunity to make a compromise regarding the whole thing, right? Your integrity with it. Now, salvation is no compromise. In the face of whatever it is that shows up, and the strongest resistance is always going to be family and friends and the people you know the best, because that's the persona that has your greatest vibration, right? People that don't know you don't give a shit about you, but people that know you they're going to be like, what's wrong with Barry, right? When you make a radical change in your life, people who really know you well look at you and like, what the hell's going on with you? Right? There's going to be an opportunity to step up for God, to step into your own acceptance of yourself as who it is that God created, or what it is that God created as part of itself, as the Christ. All I'm saying is don't compromise that. And the temptation to compromise will be strong because of the history and the story that you have about the situation being presented, wherein you're going to be called upon to make the decision. Right? There'll be the temptation to want to uphold and maintain the old familiar mold of Barry, the old familiar script. This is exactly the same thing as the great frog in a different way. It's saying yes. Okay. If you miss the opportunity, it doesn't matter. It'll come around again. But every time a lesson comes around again, it has a bit more oomph to it. Partly because you'll recognize in the lesson how you failed to learn it before, or how you failed to be uncompromising before, and that will be weighing on your mind as well. So you have to be extra vigilant in forgiveness, which is what that lesson is telling you. So hold yourself accountable to God's promise, not to your ideas of what that is, even though God's promise will also be inclusive of your ideas of what that is. It just won't look the way that you want it to look. You'll recognize it, but you'll be like, oh, I didn't think it would look like that, but you'll recognize it when it comes. I don't know if that makes sense. All these things make sense in the learning of it, not in the approach, because everything is unknown until it's known. And the only way you can know anything is through the learning of the lesson, because true knowledge or true knowing is experiential, not conceptual. So that'll be fun. And I want to hear what I want to hear the narrative of what goes on with this one.
Okay.
There's only 2 left. So Tina, can you read the next one, please? And then Anna. So if Tina 339 and Anna 340. Joe's still not reading anything for us because she's a bitch. She's just hanging out there, letting us do all the work. Kidding. Take a breath. This lesson, Tina, goes in line with our trip to Iceland.
Hmm.
You know how many people I've told about that already? Like
I'm
4.
amazed. I'm amazed at that.
I know. It's so funny.
Vinka said she's going too. Okay, I guess I have to win all the trips.
Either that or there's going to be a fist fight. I hope she's not bigger than.
I look forward to it.
I'm challenging everybody these days, it seems.
You are.
I must be willing to get the results of my own thinking.
Apparently.
All right, let's do it. 339.
Lesson 339. I will receive whatever I request. No one desires pain, but he can think that pain is pleasure. No one would avoid his happiness, but he can think that joy is painful, threatening, and dangerous. Everyone will receive what he requests, but he can be confused indeed about the things he wants, the state he would attain. What can he then request that he would want when he receives it? He has asked for what will frighten him and bring him suffering. Let us resolve today to ask for what we really want, and only this, that we may spend this day in fearlessness without confusing pain with joy or fear with love. Father, this is your day. It is a day in which I would do nothing by myself, but hear your voice in everything I do, requesting only what you offer me, accepting only thoughts you share with me.
Read that last little bit again.
The prayer?
Take a breath. Remember the impulses, all of God. Yes.
Father, this is your day. Oh. It is a day in which I would do nothing by myself, but hear your voice in everything I do, requesting only what you offer me, accepting only thoughts you share with me.
Good.
Oh. Oh.
I could tell you to read that one more time, but I think you get the good. Anna, 340. This lesson is perfect. Ah.
I can be free of suffering today.
That's terrible. Close your eyes. Ready? Let's read with the passion of the Christ. Let's summon that passion from deep within. Father, I'm here to represent the sonship. I want my heart to read this, not my pointy little brain. I want to feel these words. I want to go this distance. I want to touch this place. I can be free of suffering today. I can be free of suffering today. That's a declaration. Yeah, Tina got it. Look at that. Here we go.
I can be free of suffering today.
Good. There it is. Thank you.
Father, I thank you for today and for the freedom I'm certain it will bring.
Yes.
This day is holy, for today your son will be redeemed.
Yes.
His suffering is done.
Good. Thank you.
For he will hear your voice, directing him to find Christ's vision through forgiveness and be free forever from all suffering. Thanks for today, my Father. I was born into this world, but to achieve this day and what it holds in joy and freedom for your Holy Son and for the world he made, which is released along with him today.
Breathe.
Be glad today. Be glad. There is no room for anything but joy and thanks today.
Yes.
Our Father has redeemed his Son this day. Not one of us but will be saved today. Not one who will remain in fear, and none the Father will not gather to himself. Awake in heaven, in the heart of love.
Good. In the heart of love. In the heart of love. That's where it's at. In the heart of love. You got to feel it in there. So, oh, thank you. All right, that's it. So if you're following along at home, I just saw myself one of those black preachers, you know, like what's that, Tina? You know, like in the gospel, and they're like, hallelujah.
Yes, yes. Stop playing. It's
It's funny.
exactly.
I just saw me like that. So
That's it. Won't he do it?
in the heart of love.
Yes.
All right. So next week we're nearly finished at this book, right? So we got two more lots and we're done. Not that there's ever really a done, but we got What is a Miracle next week. So stay tuned for that if you're watching at home. I love the idea, you know. Oh, hang on, you can probably pause the. Do you want to do that? Pause the recording and just keep it going. It's up to you.
It's easier to just pause it. So, right on.
All right.
Thank you.